Hello everybody, welcome to Haiku Talk, episode 12. I'm your host, Moeller-Gaa, your friendly neighborhood haiku poet, and today we're going to be looking at a teeny tiny haiku by Ruth Holzer from issue 136 of Hedgerow. So, grab a beverage, sit back, relax, and let's haiku. Welcome back. So today's episode 12, we're going to look at a really teeny tiny haiku. Now, I know that most people know, haiku is a small form poem. It is teeny, it is tiny by design. But this one is exceptionally small. Now, part of this channel is dedicated to show people what contemporary English language haiku looks like. You know, what are serious haiku poets writing today and senryu poets writing today? And when I say serious poets, I mean people that are actually studying and working within the medium to really get at what a haiku can do and what makes a haiku. Most of us were taught in schools that a haiku is a short poem and it has a very specific format. It's a 3-line poem where the first line is 5 syllables long, the second line is 7 syllables long, and the third line again is 5 syllables long. Well, as you've been watching this channel, you know that's not exactly true. If you write that way, that's fine, but contemporary writers have abandoned that form with the hope of trying to get at the heart of what makes the form the form. And this poem goes so far away from the 17-syllable 5-7-5 template that you've been taught in schools that it's just 4 words. 4 words and 4 words and 5 syllables long. So we're completely obliterating that whole 17-syllable 5-7-5 format. In fact, the format goes long, short, short. So it kind of gets narrower as it goes down. So let's take a look at this poem. Let's break it apart and let's see how it works. Again, this poem is from Ruth Holzer. It comes from issue 136 of Hedgerow. Now, the latest issue 137 is out already, but I am a little backlogged due to my bout with COVID. So we're going to 136 for this one. And the poem goes like this. Wee hours steeping tea. Again, that's wee hours steeping tea. So good, right? I mean, it's amazing. And again, that's 4 words, 5 syllables. Fantastic. Now let's take a look at how this works and why it works. So, and to do that, we go line by line. And I also want to point out that this one doesn't necessarily follow the fragment and phrase format. It uses a different kind of template, one that I'm very fond of, and one of those templates that I kind of got used to early on. It's like, aha, I understand what's going on in that one, so I'm going to try it a bunch of times until I get it right, and then use it forever. And that is what's called the middle pivot. And in this case, the line in the middle here, in line 2, talks to both the first line as well as the third line. And so it's what anchors the poem and what gives it the poem its aha moment. And it's a tried and true format. It works wonderfully well, and it's fun. You can see it at work here, and it's a delight to come across them and to come across them working well, and especially one with only 4 words. So with that in mind, when we get to line 2, keep that in mind that it's the pivot line. But we're going to break this down line by line. And there's not much to look at here. And yet we have a pretty broad palette of a picture that it paints. So the first line, wee hours. That's it. Wee hours. 2 words and 2 small words at that. Giving us a 3-syllable line to start. And as all good lines, all first lines do, they give us something to hang our coat on, something that's going to want us to read further. So wee hours. I'm already drawn in by the use of the word we for wee hours. That's a fun phrase, a fun use of a word. Kind of makes me smile right off the bat. And what are wee hours? Well, it's in that dark period of night after midnight and before dawn. It's that time when most people are sleeping. It's that time when, there's not much going on. But this scene starts there. And because this scene starts there, that means we are not in a sleeping phase. We are awake in the wee hours. So you have to be awake in the wee hours to experience the wee hours. Otherwise, you're sleeping and you're in a dream. So just by starting out with the words wee hours, Ruth has already given us, using suggestive language, to say, hey, you're awake. And hey, you know what time it is? It's late at night. And so my mind starts to wonder, okay, what's going on this late at night? What is happening this late at night? And that propels me to read on to line 2. Now, line 2 in this case is one word, one 2-syllable word. And that word is steeping. Steeping. So what's happening in the wee hours? Well, steeping is happening in the wee hours. And steeping is a fun word because it has a couple different meanings. But the first thing that comes to my mind when I hear steeping in wee hours, I think, oh, I'm awake and I'm chewing on something. I'm really kind of working through some stuff, thinking things, processing things, trying to figure out what might be happening to something. I don't know what the problem is. I don't know what I'm chewing on, but I'm giving things some thought, and I can't sleep. It's the wee hours, and so I'm steeping, kind of like stewing, kind of like pondering, kind of like mulling over things in your head. And that's what's happening for me. And from there, I want to know a little bit more about what's steeping. And when I move to line 3, we again have a one-word line, and I love one-word lines. And it's an even smaller word. It's a very tiny word. It's the word tea. That's it. Tea. Right? So, I'm a big tea fan. I love hot tea. I love iced tea. And for me, the idea of drinking tea in the middle of the night, in the wee hours of the night, means I'm definitely up and I'm trying to calm myself. I'm trying to think through some stuff. And I immediately go to places and times in my life where I have been up at that time of night by myself. Doesn't mention that there's company, but for me, when I read steeping or wee hours steeping tea, I see this as being by myself. I see this as being kind of a solitary act, because that's where the suggestive language takes me. Now, certainly, you could see there'd be sharing tea. You could see that there would be other people maybe up with you. But for me, I see it as a very solitary thing. And another reason why I feel it's solitary has to do with the structure of the poem, the narrowing down from 3 syllables to 2 syllables to 1 syllable. So because the poem trims down that way, funnels down that way, leaves you with that 1-syllable lone word of tea. And that's why I feel I'm alone when I step into this moment. And this is definitely a moment I can step into. And I think that if you're a tea drinker, you're going to get it right away. If you're not, some people might relate this to putting the coffee on if you can't sleep at night, trying to work through some problems. And again, the tea, because it doesn't tell us what kind of tea, for me, I drink black tea all the time, regardless of day or night. So I'm thinking I've got a nice big mug of PG Tips. I'm going to add some cream. I'm going to sit down and really, or maybe some Bailey's Irish cream, and really kind of sink into whatever I'm needing to deal with in the wee hours of the night. Other people, might think of a chamomile. Other people might think of a mint tea or some other kind of herbal tea, something relaxing. And that's the beauty of the poem, the beauty of the suggestive language, is that Ruth doesn't tell us specifics about these things. And because she doesn't, she allows us, the reader, to step into that moment and fill in all the details of our life experience into that moment. We get to fill that room. We get to fill that space. We know exactly what kind of mug we're using to brew our tea with. We know what kind of kettle we're using. We've put on to boil the water. And the steeping part is after the boiling is done. It's just the bags in the water, and it's the time it takes to actually steep the tea, which is, for me, about 5 minutes. That's what I set my timer to. You may have different timings that you set things to. If it's 3 minutes, 5 minutes, or you just leave those tea bags in, I don't know. But this is the steeping part. It's the part where the tea colors the water. It's the part where things are released, and it's the part where the flavor comes out and becomes alive. And that sort of suggestive language there can impact you in many different ways. And that's what's so exciting when you come across a poem this small that nails the simple, succinct, suggestive language so well, that uses this wonderful format of a middle pivot where steeping talks to both the wee hours. You are steeping in the wee hours, as well as the fact that you are steeping tea. So it's that thing that talks between the two images and makes the moment pop and come alive. And this is just one of these really wonderful poems that I know I'm going to keep with for a while and keep in my back pocket. You know, it's short. I'll remember it. I'll have it forever. So thanks, Ruth, and thanks, Hedgerow, for picking this wonderful piece and giving it to the world. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in and watching. Like and subscribe, which helps the channel, and ring the bell if you want to get notifications. And as you can tell, things look a little bit differently. I did get an upgraded camera. I've got some new light equipment and a new microphone, and so I'm starting to dig a little bit deeper into how you do this whole YouTube channel thing. And thank you for coming along for the journey. It will grow and expand and tweak and move and modulate as we move forward in time. And like I said, thanks for coming along with the journey. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. Have a great rest of your week. We'll get back to it for the next episode. Until then, stay tuned. Be safe. Be healthy. Thanks.